Yeah, he's got like 3 documents down the bottom of his email
Yeah, I know.
with the invite.
Yeah. Is that just for me, or is it from you and me?
I don't know. I didn't look.
Oh, well, I hope it is. Oh, come on in, Beth. Good afternoon, everybody. Rock and roll. Here we go. Hello, good afternoon, welcome. Yes, I am behaving myself, Mr. Memphis. I always do. I'm just waiting for Beth, so Beth will be with me in just a sec. Don't forget, guys, tonight we got wonderful entertainment for you. We got Mark Memphis on at 8:30, and we got 8 o'clock. We got Susan Lee. In a minute, we got Beth Penfold, and hopefully she shouldn't be long. Anyway, I hope everybody is well. Don't forget, guys, go and get my book. My book is out. Oh, I'm so pleased, so pleased. And also, if you've got any messages or anything, like say, hi Steve, you're looking so cracking tonight or gorgeous, then please leave your messages on here, and it'd be nice to hear from everybody. Anyway, I hope you're well, and if anybody seen my new video, I'll tell you what, I made a new video for my channel, and so I'm just kind of like doing it all. And tell me what you think of this, guys. Tell me what you think of this while we're waiting for uh, Beth. Hello and welcome. I'm here. Hello, guys. What do you think of that? Then brilliant, really good. We're getting there. British Rail. Sorry, Beth.
That's all right. These things happen.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm all right.
Good.
I'm all right. It's the others, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how have you been? You been all right?
Yeah, I've been great. I'm very excited about your book.
What do you think about it?
I don't know. I haven't read it yet. Sorry.
Oh, right. Okay. All right.
I can't
Okay.
pretend. I went out and as soon as you sent me the link, I went and bought it on Kindle. So I'm looking forward to getting stuck into that. Perhaps later this week when I have a bit more time. I'm just chocker at the moment.
Oh, no,
But yeah,
you're busy. You're a busy woman, and I know you're a very busy woman.
no, I'm a busy bee and happy to be, but I'm so glad you wrote it. It's going to be amazing, really. It's going to help so many people, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. We are. They're going out the door. They're flying out. So, don't forget,
Excellent.
guys.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. Yeah.
Yeah, so am I. I'm really, really happy, and she did a good job on it. Ali did.
Yeah.
And I met her on here, and she said, I said, I always wanted to write a book, but I can't afford it. And she said, I'll tell you what, I'll do it for you. And so
Wow.
there you go.
Fantastic.
There are some nice people on here.
Yeah, I mean, it's great how life just brings you the people you need to, to make a contribution, because by Ali doing that, I'm sure she's done a wonderful job. The two of you are going to help so many other people. So it's,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
kind of conduits really, aren't you, for kindness and support for others. It's great.
Well, the trouble is, I got wonderful people on here now, like yourself. I don't know about Mark Mountford. Oh, he's a pain, but you know
Oh
what?
God, him. Yeah.
Him, him. You know what I mean? He's,
Yeah.
Anyway, Beth, what we're talking about today?
Well, I just wanted to talk about how we often drive ourselves nuts trying to work out what's going on in somebody else's head, right? So let's say you've had a row with your partner, or maybe your boss has said something really weird at work that's left you feeling a bit stunned or upset, or maybe you just have to make a really important decision, and so someone else is trying to make that decision with you. We often kind of go, what, why did they say that? What was going on for them? That
Mm.
if only I could understand why they said it like that, or what's really going on behind the scenes. And we kind of think that if we could understand that, if we could know the other person's thoughts and feelings, we might be able to resolve things. We might be able to make a decision for ourselves. We might be able to behave in a way that pleases the other person. I think that's particularly a problem for women. Women are socialized to please people, and to put other people's thoughts and feelings ahead of their own. They're more important.
But that's
But I
totally
think,
wrong, Beth, isn't it? That's totally wrong. If women do that, then they're not thinking about themselves.
yeah, absolutely, and that's just patriarchy. And I'm sure that there's a lot of men who feel like that as well, because it might not be that they're necessarily socialized to put other people's thoughts and feelings first, but they're certainly socialized, a lot of them, um, to not be able to share their thoughts and feelings, and therefore, because they can't share them, those thoughts and feelings get ignored. So that's kind of the same thing almost, isn't it?
Right.
Neither gender's sort of getting heard one way or another, or their thoughts and feelings aren't being taken into account. But really, I'm talking about kind of spending a bit too much time thinking about that. We obviously seek to understand people. There's very good evolutionary reasons why it matters to us what other people think of us, how other people feel about us. When we all evolved in tribes, we didn't want to get kicked out of the tribe, and in the moment, we need to know. We need to guess what another person's thinking and feeling. Like we unconsciously still read the body language of everybody that we meet, because we're like, are they going to attack us? Are they going to, what's this person going to do? Is this person a threat or anything like that? We're still running those systems. And obviously in friendships and in loving relationships, of course, we want to understand what may be hurting somebody, what may be confusing them or baffling them. And, we think if we can understand that, maybe we can help them. But a lot of the time is, our wish to know people's thoughts and feelings comes from a place where we think that we need to sort of control the other person. Like we need to understand them to a degree where we can kind of manipulate the situation, if you see what I mean. Like if I knew what their thoughts and feelings were, then I would be able to say something that would make things go my way, or make that person feel happy again, or there might be really positive motives behind it, but ultimately we can't really ever know what another person's thinking and feeling, because if it is your boss at work, you probably can't just go up and say, what's really behind this, what's actually bothering you, why did you speak in that particular way, I really need to understand this. And in closer relationships, the other person might tell you, but often it's not as simple as being able to just hear another person. We have so many kind of filters and narratives going on in our own head that say you've had an argument with your spouse or something. Often at the point where you sit down and go, look, what's really going on here? What is really bothering you, right? By the time they tell you, if they're able to tell you, you've kind of already created a narrative about what you think might be going on in their head and what you believe has happened. And obviously, naturally, we like to believe that we're right and the other person's wrong. That's just a survival thing, that we all need to work on. And so even if they do tell you the truth of what they're thinking and feeling, your brain will often go, no, that doesn't compute with the narrative I've already created. So I'm just going to ignore that. No, the situation's not resolved.
Do you think we assume too much then?
Say again, sorry?
Do you think we assume too much? Do you think we kind of pre-predict what the other person's going to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And we do it as a safety technique because, as with anything, if we know what's coming, we can kind of defend ourselves, and we do like to feel that we understand what's going on because, particularly if you're arguing with a loved one or whatever, it can be really painful, can't it? Lots of really difficult emotions can come up. So naturally, we try to control the flow of the conversation. We try to control the other person's behavior. We sort of calm down, or can't you chill out or take a break, or and we try to affect a conclusion that we're comfortable with, and that we feel safe with. But ultimately, when we're doing that, when we're spending time thinking about, worrying about what's going on about someone else, what they think and feel about us, we're kind of ignoring ourselves and our own lives and our own decisions and our own thoughts and feelings. And, taken to extremes, when I coach my sort of female, some female clients on dating, for instance, during our conversation, every single statement they make is about, oh, well, I did do this, but I wasn't sure that blokes would like that. Or, I was going to say that, but, I'm not sure a man would want to be with someone. Do you know what I mean? That what they're doing is they're trying to say, yes, like a man they've never even met, what a man they've never even met might think or feel about an aspect of themselves. And so what I basically, coach them to do is to just focus on themselves, what they think and feel, what their opinions are, and what they want. Because ultimately, you can't really know another person's thoughts and feelings, but you should definitely know your own. You should definitely be aware of your own thoughts and feelings and be able to make a decision based on what you think about something, rather than having to wait to find out what somebody else thinks. We all do that a bit, don't we? We don't want to make trouble. I'll just go with the majority, But when you're doing that, when you're waiting for someone else's opinion before you have an opinion, you're giving up your power. You're giving up your control, yourself, your own thoughts. I mean, it might happen to agree with what you thought anyway, but if it doesn't, why were you waiting? Are you worried about being in conflict with this person?
Beth, where does all the rubbish come from? Where when we do get in an argument and we're shouting each other, and like sometimes the past would come back and say, "Oh, do you remember that time? You did this and that did that." And where does all that come from? Does that come from anger or what?
Well, you make an excellent point, because often those of us who do bring up the past, it's often because we are still ruminating on what really happened there. Why did they behave like that time? What does that say about them? What kind of partner have I got? And yes, people who tend to bring up past arguments and past examples where the partners behave badly, the reason they're doing that is because they've not been able to let go of those past incidents, and they've still got that thing going round in their mind. And of course, it just goes round and round and round, and there's no answer because the other person's moved on, and they're not going to be able to say exactly why that specific thing happened. And even if they did say it, as I say, your brain might not be willing to accept that answer. So yes, that's a brilliant point you've made, is that you bring up all the stuff in the past, which you've not been able to let go of, but you will never get an answer for why somebody did that thing in the past, because it's past. That they probably can't remember accurately exactly what they were thinking and feeling at the time. And so by doing that, what we're doing is cluttering up our own minds, our own sort of inner landscape, with loads of unanswerable questions, loads of just like a hamster wheel of why this, why that, what was behind that, what's really going, and you waste your existence, your life, your enjoyment trying to work out this other person, because you believe that if you understand this other person, you will be able to somehow either make everything okay, or make them behave in a certain way, or make them feel something or do something or whatever. And essentially, we often we're coming from a really good place when we're doing that. It's like I used to try and really understand my ex-husband better because he had anxiety, and I thought if I can understand him better, I can help him to access some sort of treatment. But I had to learn painfully that it's not that simple, because that's his choice about whether he seeks treatment for his anxiety. And I had to admit that a large part of the reason I wanted him to treat his anxiety was because it would make my life easier if I didn't have a partner with anxiety, right? But I can't force someone else to do that. That's not my place to do it. All I can do is make sure that I'm behaving as well as I can, that I've got healthy, really good mental health and things like that. And everybody else, that's their stuff, that's their choice to make, that's their business.
No problem. Yeah. Do you find that as a coach, we don't talk about this much, but about your business, about coaching other women, say, with their relationships, do you find when they come to you for asking for help, especially with relationships, say, do you find that some of them are kind of needy? They've lost, they don't know what to do about their partner, or they're meeting somebody new, but they don't know how to um, kind of approach them properly, because they could be kind of what they say, you know what they say, don't you? What's the saying again?
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's a brilliant question. I think there's a lot of women. It happens to men too. Obviously, but there's a lot of women who've perhaps had previous relationships where they've spent the whole time, obsessed with what the other person is thinking and feeling, to the point where they've kind of lost track of what they actually want, that what they actually want in a relationship, what actually makes them happy, where they want the relationship to go. I had one client who said that when she split with her ex-partner, he sort of said quite angrily and frustratedly, I've spent this whole relationship trying, I've spent this whole relationship, trying to be the man I think you want me to be, right? So what he'd done in his head was he'd created a vision of what he thought she wanted, right? And then he put that mask on and tried to be that person, right? And lots of people do this in relationships because it starts out with, obviously you want to make a good impression, obviously we all want to put our best foot forward, and we want to wow this new partner that we've got or whatever. So obviously we do that, but then at some point you have to just get on with being you. But a lot of people, they then get worried and think, oh gosh, I've got to carry on being like this, I've got to, I'm sure he wants me to be confident all the time, or sometimes they might say something like, you might get a compliment from a new partner or something like, I love that you're so confident, and then you might think, oh God, so I've got to do that all the time now. I've got to, and nobody's one thing all the time, are they? We're complex beings, and there are times and certain areas of our life where we feel supremely confident, and other areas of our lives and other times where we're like, oh God, no idea what to do.
So are you a woman then who are you one of these women who are tough, where they say, if you don't like me, tough? You know what I mean?
I certainly was when I was dating. I was fine with that because I went into it like all the women I coach, really, where I was very clear about what I wanted, and and if they didn't fit that criterion, then obviously I was very polite about it and all that sort of thing. There was never any sort of hard feelings or anything, but it was just like, no, this isn't going to work for me.
So you had a criteria. You. Hang on for a second. Sorry.
Okay.
So do you have a criteria then? Do you have a list of what you're looking for?
I did when I was dating. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right?
So I had a specific list, based on preferences, my values, what I value, what I think is important, my political views, um, the limitations of my life, like the fact that I've got a very busy job, so I don't have that much free time. The my status in life, as in I'm a parent. I think I wanted someone else who was a parent who sort of got that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I think it's important to
mm,
create that list for yourself. I'd suggest that to anyone. It's kind of like, what is your wish list?
yeah,
You're
that's
not going
correct.
to find the perfect match, but it helps you to pick out the most important things and find a partner with those. But I was going to say that it's more difficult to be tough once the emotions kick in, once you fall in love. But it's more important than ever to be, I wouldn't use the word tough, I would use the word authentic. I have to just get on and be me. We all have to just
Yes.
focus on what we think about stuff, what we feel about stuff, and communicate that honestly to our partners, to people we work with, to anyone we're in a sort of relationship with, because then they've got something useful to go on. And we have to accept that we may never really understand. We can't ever know somebody's inner mind. That's the mystery of people. That's the gamble of relationships, and that's okay. So rather than giving up the one thing we can control, which is our own thoughts and feelings, often we sort of just spend time trying to control other people's thoughts and feelings, and we're just on a hiding to nothing doing that.
Why do men, right? Why do men kind of like make somebody new, like a partner or something? You know, I could come up with loads of answers, but I think they're silly. And they go, right, I've got this, I've got that. They tell these women to beef them up, and say, I've got a big house in the countryside, and I've got a sport car, Lamborghini, but they only got a mini. Why do they? I think the police has come for you.
Yeah, they've caught up with me at last. But, yeah, I had a good run. So,
why do they? Why do they beef you up for? Why do they beef? Why do men kind of like beef themselves up, saying, right, we got all this to attract, the person in front of them?
well, I can't know what individual human motives are, but I would suggest that it's the same as it is for women, in that for a start, we all feel it's important that people like us, and men are socialized that the ideal traits for them are strength, courage, wealth, success. So in the same way as a woman might put on a one of those plump you up bras and a bit of extra makeup on a first date to sort of make the most of her looks. A man may well exaggerate his car or how big his house is or whatever. So yeah, I don't
Mm.
I don't think I think men are victims of social conditioning in the same way that women are, I think, really, but their story is different because they're supposed to illustrate different values, different.
You think men put their feet in the mud too much? Do you think we sometimes can be over the top?
What men can be over the top?
Yeah,
What in terms of exaggerating their success or wealth or
yeah,
whatever?
yeah.
It's not really been my experience.
All
But
right.
but I do know, again, I've had this with clients. So I do know people who've got themselves into an awful mess, bless them, because they believe that they have to have a very obvious outward show of wealth, particularly around where I live. It's all about money around here. So I'm hopeless. I've got a battered old car, and I don't care. But anyway, um, and they've got themselves into horrendous debt, and it's caused so much stress in the relationship. And the husband's nagging the wife to have her boobs done, and she's like, now we need a holiday home. And it's that whole keeping up with the Joneses thing can
Yeah,
be
yeah,
very, very toxic for everybody, for
yeah,
of
yeah,
any gender.
yeah. Also, what I'd like to ask you is this, that
Mm.
when you're doing your counselling and And when women come to you and they say, you know, about finding a partner, what kind of partner should I look for? What can I do? Do you kind of like put them up and say, look, at the end of the day, as long as you know, some people don't go for looks, but most women do. They do go for looks, don't they? They want to
What
look.
makes you think that?
Sorry,
What makes you think that?
what makes me think that? Well, I've experienced it in the past, and but that's but also I looked online earlier, and it says around about 90% of women go for looks.
Oh, right, okay. That's interesting. Can you send me a link to that? That would be
Yeah, sure, yeah, I can do that. Yeah,
cool. Yeah, possibly yes. And I think wouldn't it be interesting if 90% of women went for looks and wealth, right? Because they thought that that's what you're supposed to be looking for in a man. You can imagine their mum or dad saying, what does he do for a living? And the mum going, is he got good genes? Is he tall? And you know, there's a lot of there's a lot of gosh, what a strange sort of game of tennis where maybe the man's trying to say, oh, I've got all these qualities that look, I'm handsome, I'm rich, I'm successful, right? And the woman's going, oh, I need to look for all these qualities, handsome, rich, successful, right? And in reality, the man is okay, maybe handsome, but even the handsomest people, sometimes there's just no chemistry there. And maybe he's not very wealthy, but maybe he's hilarious. Maybe he makes a laugh or whatever, or maybe he's really clever, or maybe he's really ethical and environmentally friendly or something like that. And maybe that's who he really is. And maybe she actually would prefer wit over looks or whatever.
yeah.
And I think everybody's tricked into these games. If you think about Tinder and all these dating websites, it's the picture you see first, isn't it? People don't often read the bio. I think there's some very interesting statistics about men just hardly read the bio at all, but women don't really actually either. So yeah, I think you're right
They
about.
look at yeah, but sometimes the pictures are fake, can be fake though, can they?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. The pictures might not be real, but I think there's a difference between absolutely we're all visually attracted, aren't we? Definitely, it's one of the first things we notice how somebody looks. But I think we've all found, those of us who've experienced relationships, that that's not always important in the long term.
No, no, it's not.
Um,
Yeah,
I've certainly experienced partners who weren't that great looking, but I went out with them because they were hilarious or fascinating to talk to or whatever, and they become really attractive to me because of who they are, right?
yeah,
And at the same time, I've been out with really good looking people who don't feel attractive at all because I don't know, they're completely vapid or they lie or they whatever it is. And I think we've probably all sort of had those sorts of experiences where the proof of the pudding's in the eating, really, isn't it? And so what I try to do with my clients is we do like a values exercise first. It's really all about the person wanting to do the dating, getting to know themselves first. I do the same with male clients who want to work on dating. It's like, who are you? What's important to you? What do you want in your life? What gets you excited, right? And then that's you, right? And how would a potential partner, add value to that, to everything that you are, everything that you want, the adventures you want to have, everything that you value, right? So it's looking at it that way rather than have you done everything you can to be an ideal
mm,
match for somebody, right? Because how can you predict
yeah,
what every single other human man wants? Everybody
mm,
wants something a little bit different ultimately, don't they? So all we can really do, and this is what we all need to do as humans in general, right? If we all focused on our own mental health, our own managing our own minds, understanding our own emotions, understanding our own thoughts and things, thinking about what we say, thinking about what we believe in. If everybody did that and just showed up as themselves, life would be so much easier. There wouldn't be all this pretense and pretending you have this or believe that or whatever to try and please others or to try and gain power over a situation. If everybody was just keeping it real, then the thing is that there are so many different types of people. You know, I know it sounds like optimistic BS to say, oh, there's someone for everyone or whatever. And I'm not just talking about relationships, it's the same for workplaces and things. You know, I definitely, when I was an HR manager, I was recruiting people, you know, you think that you want every single candidate to be, you know, bubbly and a good communicator and really enthusiastic and all that. But actually, when you're hiring for sort of IT people, it's absolutely fine if they can't string a sentence together and they just want to sit in the corner in an office on their own or whatever. That's fine because they're not customer facing or whatever. You know, do you know what I mean? So there's different strokes for different folks. And if we all just are honest about who we are and what we want, then we've all got like the same level ground to play on. And it's the one thing we can do well is managing ourselves, is being true to ourselves, is growing ourselves and improving ourselves.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much. That was really, really good.
It's a pleasure, as always.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And we'll see you next time.
Awesome. All right. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Beth.